Hi, I'm Paul from pdhsports.com, the leading online racket specialist, and today I'm taking a look at the Wilson Prostaff squash racket range. So the reason I'm going to take a look at these rackets is because there's not a lot of information out there, and yeah, we thought we would give a more in-depth review and give you guys my opinion and thoughts on this range. So first of all, if we talk about the stringing pattern, they all come with like a 14 by 18 stringing pattern, and this kind of complements the racket. It gives quite a forgiving feel because, you know, there's a bit of space in the down strings, but then with the 18 cross strings, it really sort of tightens up in the middle of the racket to give that sort of classic head shape feel. But you know, they certainly feel a little bit more like almost like a teardrop. One thing that I do think is very confusing with the Wilson rackets and doesn't do Wilson any favours is what they're sort of stipulating with the weights. They have like an unstrung weight and a frame weight. So for instance, on the Ultralight, we've got unstrung weight 131 and then a frame weight of 114. On the Light, it's got an unstrung weight of 149 and a frame weight of 132. So like even on that one, like 149 grams may put some people off and think, oh, this is really heavy, but believe me, this racket is not heavy. So all of these rackets feel really light. So, and then the last one on the countervail, this has an unstrung weight of 140 grams and then they're giving it a frame weight of 123. So I'm not completely sure how Wilson are trying to, what the difference between an unstrung weight and a frame weight is. So most of the brands would probably just give either give an unstrung weight. So like if it's saying it's a Carbonflex 125, then it's you know, the unstrung weight is 125 grams. So I'm going to perhaps need to give a little bit more information if I get it off Wilson what their weights are actually, how they're doing it. But let's take it that these rackets are pretty light and there's different weights within them. Quite a lot of detail there. We're going to take these on court now and yeah, see how they play. Okay, so we're starting on the Prostaff Light. Now, like for these power shots, racket feels really solid. Getting the racket head and the balance feels really nice. So you can see how I'm setting the racket really early for my shot, and I feel like that's coming from the weight and the balance of this racket. So like, if we focus, this is the one that's, for me, is confusing because it's saying unstrung weight 149. Now, if you said to me, oh, you've got a 149 gram racket, I'd be like, nah, I'm not interested in that. But this is then saying a frame weight of 132. So it feels like the equivalent of a 132 sort of weighted racket. So let's focus more on the 132. Forget about the 149, because 149 just sounds ridiculously heavy when it's not. Right, so where these Wilson rackets seem to, you know, want to excel, it's quick volleying, so it's really bang, quite manoeuvrable, and the 18 stringing pattern, the 14 by 18 stringing pattern, I said, is what gives you that grip on the ball. I think for me, this is the least attractive looking in the range. I think I don't like it in the sort of natural coloured factory strings. I can imagine this with some black strings in it would look a lot nicer, but in terms of performance, you can see here I'm really gripping the ball in on the short stuff, and So yeah, this racket really likes to move fast through the air. It feels like it's a very sort of attacking frame. I'm really liking to get into the volley early. It's a very maneuverable racket. So it feels really light. So yeah, let's take the Ultralight on next and see what the differences are. The Ultralight, and this is coming up with 114 grams for their frame weight and 131 for the unstrung weight. So yeah, it feels light, but considering the spec difference of the light version, not so significant. The other one felt light. So the other one maybe felt like I was getting the racket set a little bit better on my lengths. This one, the balance, like I said, because it's maybe a little bit lighter, a little bit looser. Really maneuverable, flashes of reddy orange colour in my eye line, like that again. I'd maybe put some black strings in it. I think it'll look really good with the black strings. So what I'm feeling is good grip on the ball. If I don't hit this in the middle, you do feel it. So it feels like it's a forgiving racket, but in actual fact, I think like a lot of the classic head shake rackets, the flex and the way they're set up, they do require some clean middle of the head hitting to really sort of enjoy using them. That was the Ultralight. I'm going to move on now to the sort of Prostaff flagship racket, the one that features the countervail, and really see if we can tell the difference in this one. This has got the added construction. Okay, so in line with my confusion before, this has got a frame weight of 123, unstrung weight, I think it was 140. Again, feels a little bit more like the first one, the light. There's definitely less of a ping and vibration, and I think hopefully that is the countervail construction that I'm feeling. So again, I think this one is like the first one, a bit better for my drive. Setting the racket again like I was on that first one. Right, let's take it on some volleys. So, I'll tell you what all these Wilson rackets do have from factory is tiny grip size. So, I'm starting to feel my forearm aching just a little bit narrower grip than I'm used to, but that can be addressed easily enough with, if you buy another grip or put another grip on it. Again, see how quickly the racket wants to move. So good for the volleys. Let's see if we can take this ball in. Quite interestingly, I don't know if it's because I'm getting tired, but I felt I was taking the other two in to the front of the court slightly better. Maybe the countervail takes away a little bit of that feedback. I'm hitting that ball in. I'm not got quite the touch. Again, How good would this racket look with black strings? Really, I think it was very stealthy, looked really good. Again, they all have different weights, but dead honest, weren't so significant. They all felt really light, and they're all really much similar feeling. I at least like the look of the first one, the Ultra, but I liked the way it felt the most on the drives. The Ultralight is incredibly light, really great on fast volleys. So yeah, all right, let me take 5 minutes and I'll come back with some conclusions on how they play. So in conclusion, not the easiest test that I've found to do with these Prostaff rackets. I found that you know, it's a little bit confusing in terms of who they're for, and having now play tested with them this afternoon, I really think that we would sort of target this as a serious club player that sort of wants a bit of forgiveness but is looking for that extra control and performance from the racket. I think the whole range is, you know, in terms of which one you should go for, is a little bit confusing because the weights on them, there isn't that much difference. Like I think all of these rackets are very light, so I'd almost ignore what weights they've put on, even though Wilson are probably actually the most accurate weights on the market. Let's just say they're all very light. The light version, which is the heaviest, actually seemed to play the best in terms of on the length. As I was play testing them and I got through the range, I was almost like, you know, confused at the end as to which one was best. But when I've come back and hit again, I think ultimately my favourite was the countervail. I think it just has a slightly more nicer feel across the whole of the range. They are different to a lot of the rackets that I've tested so far this year. There is a different feel, there's a clear feel of when you don't hit the ball perfectly. So, you know, as soon as you hit one, you're really sort of driven to get that ball back into the sweet spot. So, yeah, my favourite was the countervail. These are all now available at pdhsports. They've all got slightly different weights, so you could perhaps determine which one, you know, whether you want to go light, really light, or super light. There's probably a racket for you. And as I say, we were really sort of targeting these probably towards a good club player that's looking for a performance but a little bit of forgiveness racket. And these are all available at pdhsports.com. And then finally, you probably would have seen throughout this video, I'm wearing some new PDH merchandise that we're now selling at PDH Sports. So if you're already subscribing to the channel and you like the content and you want to join the sort of PDH Sports, we've now set up this hashtag. So play like a champion. If you want to join the team, then these shirts are now all available on our website. And yeah, we'll be launching some more content very soon.